Have you ever noticed how when you are feeling isolated, you also feel physically run down? It is not just in your head. Loneliness actually impacts your physical body. Loneliness can raise stress hormones, weaken the immune system, and even impact your heart and your metabolism. But scripture already told us it's not good for man to be alone. God designed us for connection, and when we live cut off from community, our bodies feel it. Today, we're going to hit this head on, and we're going to take the first step to putting loneliness in the past, no matter where you are, or where you find yourself, or who you are. Let's go. Welcome to If Mama Ain't Healthy, Ain't Nobody Healthy. I'm your host, Lori Morris, a Christian midwife, mama of three, and wellness coach who believes your body isn't broken, it's beautifully designed by God. Here we talk about how to restore your energy, balance your hormones, and find peace and true wellness in your body again, no matter what stage of motherhood you're in. Whether you're pregnant, postpartum, in the messy middle of mom life, or you're trying to conceive. And we do it all through biblical truth and practical, holistic living. Because you're not meant to just survive motherhood, you're meant to thrive in it. Let's dive in. So this episode is gonna start kinda sad and dark, but I've got hope for you no matter who you are or where you are. So stick with me till the end so that we can talk about this and so that you can fully understand what I'm trying to share with you today. If you've ever felt like you were carrying everything alone, the mental load, the appointments, the emotions, the exhaustion, this episode is for you. We live in a world that's more connected than ever, yet so many of us feel more isolated than ever before. We text each other, we scroll, we post, we like each other's posts. But somewhere along the way, we stopped being known and seen. And what's wild is that loneliness isn't just emotional, it's physical. In her book, Mind Over Medicine, which we're going to talk a lot about today, Dr. Lisa Rankin explains that loneliness actually changes your biology. It raises stress hormones, it weakens your immune system, it disrupts your sleep, and it can even cause inflammation. In other words, your body can feel your loneliness. But here's the truth. The thing that I want you to hold on to today. God never designed us to heal in isolation. He designed us for connection, for relationship, for community, because healing is as much about who surrounds you as it is about what supplements you take or what foods you eat. So in this episode, we're going to talk about what loneliness does to the body, how community impacts your physical health, and how scripture and science actually agree on this. And I'm going to share something with you that I've been quietly building behind the scenes that's going to be a place for women of faith to find that kind of authentic healing again. I mentioned it last week. It's called Verity Village. Verity means truth. And it's a Christ-centered wellness community where women can walk together towards truth, towards health in a peaceful way, in a way that's going to help us flourish. I'm going to share more at the end, but I'm so excited to share it with you because I know that so many of us are lacking that community. And so now you're going to have the opportunity to have that community with each other. Healing does not happen in isolation. It happens in connection. And that's what this whole concept is about. So to start the bulk of this podcast for today, I'm going to do something I don't do very often. I'm going to read about 3 or 4 pages of this book. And Dr. Rankins, if you happen to find your way into this podcast, I hope that you will forgive me since I didn't get official approval or anything, but I'm going to link your book down below. So hopefully lots of people are going to go buy this book because it gives you so much goodness about understanding how our minds can impact our bodies, sometimes even more than our physical choices. And while I do not believe she shares the beliefs that we do as Christians, there's still a lot of takeaway. There's some things maybe that don't line up, and as Christian women who with discernment, you'll be able to see what those things are. But most of what's in here, especially the first 3 quarters of it, is gold. for you to understand. All right, so we're going to start reading if you happen to have the book. I think there's more than one edition because I got the audio book to listen to some while I was driving, and the chapters did not line up. So I'm not sure if I have an older edition or a newer edition. I'm just going to read you what I've got. It's the blue version, Mind Over Medicine. We're starting on page 91. And the reason I'm reading this to you is because it's a story. This is not data or anything like that. This is a story about a group of people because I want to illustrate for you to start us off how important community can be. Okay. Let's see. Let me take you back in time to Roseto, Pennsylvania in 1961, a town where a community of Italian immigrants settled together in an enclave that recreated the old country in the New World. Like its namesake in the mountains of southern Italy, Roseto Val Frattori, this is Italian and I don't know that. The village of Roseto, Pennsylvania clings to a forested ridge. This one in the Poconos, where a group of Italians who first set sail for the New World in 1882 came in search for a better life. Because of its remoteness, few outsiders make their way into the village, but come with me into the village of Roseto and let me show you around. In the daytime, you'll find ghost empty streets because the children are all in school and the men and the women of Roseto are working long, tedious shifts at either the stone quarry or the blouse factory, trying to earn enough money to send their kids to college. Two-story stone houses built all along the main street of Garibaldi Avenue are clustered on the rocky hillside. Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church, which came to life when the inspiring and enterprising young priest, Father Pasquale Denisco, took over, towers over the other buildings. Denisco can be credited with much of the success of the town of Roseto. He encouraged the townspeople to plant crops, raise pigs, grow grapes, set up spiritual societies, and plan celebratory festivals. Soon thereafter, schools, shops, the blouse factory, and other evidence of culture sprang to life. In the evening, you'll see the village of Roseto come alive as people return from work, strolling along the village's main street, stopping to gossip with the neighbors, and maybe sharing a glass of wine before heading home to change into dinner clothes. As the church bell rings, you'll see women gathering together in communal kitchens, preparing classic Italian feasts, while men push tables together in anticipation of the nightly ritual that gathers the community together over heaping piles of pastas, Italian sausage, meatballs fried in lard, and free-flowing vino. As a community of new immigrants surrounded by English and Welsh neighbors who turn up their noses at the Italians, the people of Roseto in 1961 are forced to look out for one another. Multi-generational homes are the norm. Everyone goes to church together, neighbors wander in and out of one another's kitchens regularly, and holidays are joyously celebrated together. The work ethic in the community is strong. Not only does everyone work in Roseto, but they share a common mission. A life purpose that fuels their often backbreaking work. They dream of a better life for their children. The people of Roseto take care of one another. Nobody in Roseto is left to struggle through life alone. Roseto in 1961 is living proof of the power of the clan. This little Pennsylvania town might have gone largely unnoticed by the rest of the world had it not been brought to the attention of Dr. Stuart Wolf, a professor at the University of Oklahoma College of Medicine who bought a summer home in the Poconos not far away. One summer, Dr. Wolf was asked to speak to the local medical society, and after the talk, one of the local docs invited him to go out for a drink. Over a couple of beers, the local doc mused about how strange it was that heart disease seemed far less prevalent in the little town of Roseto than in the adjoining town of Bangor. Dr. Wolf was all ears. This conversation took place when heart attacks were happening in epidemic proportions, ringing in as the number one cause of death in men under 65. Intrigued, Dr. Wolf did his homework, scanning through death certificates from Roseto and comparing them to death certificates from the surrounding towns over a period of 7 years. Amazingly, the men of Bangor had heart attack rates paralleling the national average, but the heart attack rate in Roseto was half the national average. In fact, it was nearly zero for men under 65. It wasn't just heart disease, though. The death rate from all causes was 30 to 35% lower than average in Roseto. This finding merited further investigation. As Malcolm Gladwell reports in his book Outliers, John Brune, a sociologist hired to help investigate, recalls there was no suicide, no alcoholism, no drug addiction, and very little crime. They didn't have anyone on welfare. Then we looked at peptic ulcers. They didn't have any of those either. These people were dying of old age. That's it. At this point, Dr. Wolf and his team were committed to figuring out why the people of Roseto were so immune to disease. Attempting to answer this question, researchers poked, prodded, examined, and interviewed 2/3 of the village's adults. Dr. Wolf initially suspected that they must have some old world dietary practice making them more immune to infection. Perhaps it was all the olive oil. So he hired 11 dietitians to follow the people of Roseto into the grocery stores and watch them cook. But that wasn't it. Unable to afford olive oil, the healthiest option, the people of Roseto cooked with lard, and they routinely ate pizza loaded with sausage, pepperoni, salami, and eggs. In fact, a shocking 41% of their calories came from fat. Further, the Italian Americans in Roseto weren't physically fit. In fact, most smoked, remained sedentary, and many were obese. So what else might explain the disparity? Dr. Wolf suspected genetics because Rosetans all originated from the same small village in Italy. Dr. Wolf suspected that they might have inherited some disease protective gene. So he tracked down other immigrants originating from Roseto Valfertori who lived elsewhere in the United States to see if they were as healthy as their Pennsylvania cousins. But those who originated from the same village were scattered about but those who originated from the same village but were scattered about the United States were no more healthy than average. Genetics could not explain it. Dr. Wolf then evaluated Roseto's geography. Perhaps it was something in their water or the quality of the hospital where they received medical care. The same kind of evaluation went on in two neighboring towns where the rates of heart disease were in line with the national average. But it wasn't the water. They shared water with the neighboring communities of Nazareth and Bangor, where people were as sick as the general population. It wasn't the hospital, which they also shared, or the climate, which was the same. Dr. Wolf finally realized that if it wasn't their diet, or their geography, or their genes, or the quality of their health care, there must be something disease protective about Roseto itself. He concluded that a supportive, tight-knit community was a better predictor of heart health than cholesterol levels or tobacco use. Dr. Wolf completed his initial study just as the golden age of Roseto's community life began to disintegrate. While the people of Roseto slaved away in the quarry and the blouse factory, sacrificing so their children could go to college and live the American dream, the younger generation wasn't so thrilled about life in Roseto, which to them seemed immune to modernization. When the young people went off to study at college, they brought back to Roseto new ideas, new dreams, and new people. Italian Americans started marrying non-Italians. The children strayed from the church, joined country clubs, and moved into single-family suburban homes with fences and pools. With these changes, the multi-generational homes disbanded, and the community lifestyle shifted gears from nightly celebration to more of the typical every man for himself philosophy that fueled the neighboring communities. The neighbors who would regularly drop in for casual visits started phoning each other to schedule appointments. The evening rituals of adults singing songs while children played with marbles and jacks turned into nights in front of the television. In 1971, when the heart attack rates in other parts of the country were dropping because of widespread adoption of healthier diets and regular exercise programs, Roseto had its first heart attack death in someone younger than 45. Over the next decade, heart disease rates in Roseto doubled. The incidence of high blood pressure tripled, and the number of strokes increased. Sadly, by the end of the 1970s, the number of fatal heart attacks in Roseto had increased to the national average. As it turns out, human beings nourish one another even more than spaghetti, and the health of the body reflects this. Dr. Wolf, who continued to study the community of Roseto for many years, concluded that an isolated individual may become easily overwhelmed by the challenges of everyday life, and this kind of overwhelm can trigger stress responses in the body. An individual surrounded by a supportive community, however, relaxes. This kind of relaxation translates into positive effects on the body's physiology, leading to disease prevention and sometimes disease remission. Now, that was a long reading, I know, but I want you to take away some things from this story about how strong the impact of that community was, and about how modern lifestyle crept in through children, as it tends to do, and stole from them the very things that were making them healthy, the belonging, the commonalities of life. Hang on to that. Think about that, because it's so powerful. And I want to ask you a question. When was the last time your doctor asked you about your situation at home? Or maybe when you went in for some symptom, they asked you, what's going on in your life? Do you have people around you? Have you considered the reasons why you might not have the relationships that you need or want in your life? Have you considered why the medical system doesn't seem to be concerned about it? Could the reasons that maybe you are isolated in your life physically have something to do with maybe your childhood that haven't been dealt with? Or is it maybe just that you're physically in an area where you just can't find like-minded people? Loneliness is a feeling of disconnectedness, like you don't have a place to belong, or maybe that no one loves you because no one is there. These lead to a host of physical symptoms that we're going to talk about. Healthy relationships and community are not optional if you want to be healthy and whole. God put his people, and when I say his people, I mean the children of Israel in the Old Testament. He put his people in tribe settings. Most of the people that we read about in the Bible were not alone. And the few people that we do find alone were usually not there alone for very long, and it was for a purpose. Our community, or lack thereof, can have more of an impact on our health than our food, than our activity, than our habits, and our genetics. I sat this book over here, if you're watching on YouTube, and I wasn't done with it yet. I've got a couple of quotes again on, this one's on page 96, if you're in the blue book, if you happen to have it. A community of loved ones may affect your health more than what you eat. Or I just said all that. One study examining the people of Alameda County, California, found that in every age and sex category, people with the fewest social ties were 3 times more likely to die over a 9-year period than those who reported the most social ties, even when you account for pre-existing health conditions, socioeconomic status, smoking, alcohol consumption, obesity, race, life satisfaction, physical activity, and the use of preventative health services. Those with more social connections were even found to have lower rates of cancer. A little bit further down, a Harvard study examining the lives of almost 3,000 senior citizens found that those who gather together to go out to dinner, play cards, go on day trips, vacation with friends, go to the movies, attend sporting events, go to church, and engage in other social activities outlive their reclusive peers by an average of 2.5 years. Attending religious services has also been found to extend your life by several years in more than one study. This is real. I need you to hear me, women. I need you to hear me. We need each other. We need like-minded support. And why is this? Because mindset has an extremely strong impact on health, as you've heard in these stories. And you've heard me talk about it before on the podcast, but maybe not from this aspect. Being isolated beyond just, brief periods of needing to recharge, just being by yourself, just to breathe and to think, but being isolated long term, either physically or socially can trigger, I'm getting all caught up in my words today. They can trigger stress. And it can trigger the type of stress that's like fight or flight, like where you just feel like there's always something trying to get you. And you may not have conscious thought of this, but the subconscious thought still impacts your health, whether you realize it's there or not. Lonely people have higher blood pressure. They have greater cortisol responses to stress, and their immune system is altered. They have higher rates of heart disease and altered cardiovascular function, higher rates of breast cancer, higher rates of Alzheimer's, and suicidal thoughts. They even have higher rates of mortality after surgery. Poorer sleep, which is also experienced by people who tend to have loneliness in their lives. That leads to an increase in insulin resistance, increase in cortisol levels, as I mentioned, and it activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight. But fitting in is hard to do and harmful. So you say, but wait, what? You just told me I need community. Now you're telling me not to try to fit in? Well, let me explain what I mean by that. I mean, when you try to make yourself fit into a place that you don't fit, when you do that, when you try to make community happen with people who are not like-minded, who are not like you, who don't support the way that you think, the more you do that, the more isolated you actually feel. You're trying to hit a moving target. And just when you think you've figured it all out, like what these people like and how to act around these people, something shifts and you have to try it all over again and figure it out all over again. And in doing so, you are sacrificing who you genuinely are to try to meet somebody else's expectations or what you think their expectations are, because you're guessing, right? Because you can't walk up to them and be like, hey, so what do you expect for people in this group? Because that's weird, right? You can't do that. You're just trying to figure it out based on what you see, but it's a moving target. Belonging and fitting in are not the same. Belonging is being where, there's that word again, you belong. It's being with a group of people who accept you for who you are. It's tempting to try to fit in, to be socially accepted so that you won't feel left out, but ultimately you actually end up feeling even more alone. We all long to belong, and it is essential for our health, as we've talked about. It's hard to be a square peg trying to fit in the world's round holes, isn't it? You can try to quiet those square parts of you, and you can try to squish yourself to fit into that round hole, but it hurts to be squished, and it hurts to be contorted like that because you're not being yourself. You're causing physical damage to yourself the ways that we talked about earlier in the episode. But don't despair. Remember last week I mentioned that I have been building a community for women like us. It's called Verity Village. Again, the word verity means truth. It's going to be a place of truth and of peace where we can learn together and grow together as women trying to please God with our lives while also maintaining our sanity, while sorting through the world's mixed messages of health, what we're supposed to do, what we're not supposed to do. It's a place where we can all be who we are and support one another with God's truth as the foundation. No more trying to explain to the world why we are like we are. No more trying to appease the world's view of health when we know good and well that God made us and we want to honor that and learn how to work with that. It's a place we can be unapologetically misfits. And I know you're like, wait, I don't want to be a misfit. That's okay. You need to be a misfit in the world. We're called to be a peculiar people. I've always hated that word. It's hard to say. We are a peculiar people. We're uncool. We're misfits with the rest of the world because we're supposed to be. But in this village, we can be square pegs fitting in square holes, supported by a village of other square pegs. Together, we will heal and grow and flourish. And this doesn't mean that we are pulling ourselves out of the world and we aren't going to associate. No. What it means is that we're going to help each other have the strength to be healthy, to be well, to learn the truth, and then be able to take it to other people. Have support for understanding how our bodies work and how God made them to work. Support each other in that growth process, and then be prepared to not flinch when the world that we still live in thinks we're crazy. See, joy, happiness, and positive energy and feelings like satisfaction and hopefulness and optimism, those things lead to lower mortality rates. They lead to longer lives of health and wellness. When you can explore your questions and learn about your body in a safe place of respect and honor for each other and for God, there is nothing more hopeful, more fulfilling, more optimistic, or more joyful. I want you to be there with me. I am building it for you. Even if you have one or two people around you who are like-minded, I know you're still living in the same world that I am. I know that you live in this world where people think that you're crazy for not wanting to do things like inject poisons into your body and into your children's body. And yes, you are finally going to have a place to openly talk about these kinds of things without worrying about being censored or treated like you have three heads. It will be a place that we can share this information openly, the science behind it, and how it lines up with God's design safely, without worrying about all the things we had to worry about in 2020, like we talked about last episode. I know people think that you're weird for even considering doing things like grinding your own wheat. If you're homeschooling your kids, which I know a lot of you are doing, they think you're weird for that too, right? This is going to be a place for weird people like you, weird people like me, people who know we're doing the right things in God's eyes, or at least we're trying to. We're trying to learn about Him and learn how to do those things, but we find ourselves without people, without our people. So that is what this village is going to be. This village is going to welcome all of you weirdos. And don't be offended by that, right? I'm a weirdo too. But even weirdos, even people who don't fit the world's mold, we still need a place to belong. And this is going to be that place. So I thought I would try to answer a few questions that you might have about the village, because I know some of you probably got some questions brewing. So I try to think of what I might want to know if I was in your shoes. First thing, what about the Facebook group? I know you're probably wondering that. And my Facebook group has been such a blessing over the years, and it still is. There's so many of you that's where we first connected, where you first found my work. We share stories. We encourage each other there daily. But honestly, let's be real. It's limited because it's Facebook. It's noisy, it's full of distraction, and the group itself isn't noisy, but being on Facebook is a distraction. You come looking for a certain thing, and then other things are there by design to pull your attention away. If you don't believe that, go watch the movie. I think it's called Social Dilemma. It is designed to make you do things that you don't even realize that it's designed to make you to do. So the depth that we need, the way that we need to work together and learn, it's just not truly possible on Facebook. It's too much of a distraction. It's too noisy. Verity Village is different. Verity Village is a quiet space. It's separate from social media. It's a place we can slow down, learn, grow together, and have peace. You won't have those distractions because there won't be notifications popping up or ads or anything like that. None of that stuff will be there. So you are able to focus and to learn. There's no algorithm that you have to play into to even get the post to show up. It's going to be purposeful, truthful, and just a warm, peaceful community. Is it going to cost anything? Yes. The Village is a paid membership, but it's priced intentionally. Okay. I want it to be sustainable for you and sustainable for me so that I can continue creating high quality resources that you need. I can create the educational programs, the teachings, the conversation, the safe space that you need to feel actually cared for and not alone. A place that we can all support one another in a wholesome way. Think of it as a small monthly investment into your spiritual and physical renewal. Okay? It's like tithing towards your own peace, your own wellness. I want this to be a place where we don't have to worry about the world telling us how or what we can talk about. And in this world, the only way to do that is to get to a place where someone else isn't in control. in this village, no one else will be in control. I will be able to share with you what you need to know in a way that no one else can censor. How will it be different from what you already have, either in the Facebook group or just in your day-to-day life? Well, the free Facebook group is mostly for encouragement and for conversation. And again, that's wonderful. But Verity Village is going to go deeper. You're going to have access to things like monthly teachings, devotionals, wellness challenges, real sisterhood with women who share your values and your stage of life. It's not just another group that you just go scroll through and just you're mindlessly doing the doom scrolling thing. It's not that. It's a place to grow together, to form relationships that will stick and will stay with you for years. What will make it special? Well, that will. Verity Village is a special place because it's going to be built on truth, transformation, and real community, not trends, not what's popular, but what's needed. We're going to bring scripture together with science and also with sisterhood. All of these things in a way that's going to help you learn how to care for your body, balance your hormones, and restore your peace through God's design, learning to work with it every day, not against it. You're not going to just be handed information. I'll be walking with you through it, going through the teachings with you, hosting calls, creating a routine of connection that feels personal and it feels life-giving. And what sets it apart from other groups, there's lots of online spaces where people talk about health and motherhood and things like that. But they leave God completely out of the picture, or they start confusing God with New Age teachings that aren't really God at all. No, this is going to be scripture-based. The village begins and ends with the Word of God. Everything inside, from the devotionals to the practice tools, the wellness tools, not the practice tools, the practical tools, those things are all going to be rooted in biblical truth. It's not about chasing perfection or being something that isn't natural to us. It's about pursuing peace and pursuing wellness and living in rhythm with God's design, in community with other women who love Him too. How can you join? Well, right now, the best way is to get on the wait list. I'm still working on putting the bones together in the background. It will be opening soon. And when it does, the first people who join will be founding members, and they will be held in a place of honor, and they will also be given a discount to join. And the only people who will be aware of this and will be notified of this when it first opens are going to be the people who are on that wait list, because you are the special people who deserve the special treatment. To get on that wait list, go to, and by the way, all of my links, when I say go to Morris Wellness Services, sometimes they're not working if you don't put in the whole thing. So you got to go old school and type the whole thing in. https://www.morriswellnessservices.com/village waiting. That's how you get on the list. And when you do that, you're going to get a free gift from me about balancing your blood sugar God's way. So you're already going to get a little taste of some of what's going to be available in the village in the way of informational practical tools. In Mind Over Medicine, the author gives at the end 6 steps to do towards healing. Okay? Number 1 was to believe that healing was even possible. And I think by now, after listening to me for as long as you have, you know that healing is possible. You know that God made our bodies to heal. And if you don't, just know that I work daily with women who are seeing for themselves that healing is possible. Not just physically, but mentally. and healing their mindset and the way that they view life in the world so that their bodies can heal. Healing is possible, and I want you to have that same experience. God made our bodies to heal. But number two, in the steps to healing, is to connect and to surrender. She says to your inner pilot light. But I say connect with and surrender to God, your creator, who is your pilot. He made you, and he will guide you to healing if you will let him, if you will submit to him and submit to his will. He guided you here, didn't he? You found me, and not that I'm anything special, I am not. But I am helping you to think a little differently and to think through your Christian lens about your health and about your body. And that's something that the world doesn't give. And I'm not going to go through all 6 things, but I will say that number 3 in the steps to healing was to surround yourself with healing support. And that is Verity Village. The final 3 steps that she talked about will live inside the village. Things like finding the root cause of your symptoms, writing a prescription for yourself for healing, and treating your fears and resistances. That's the whole point of the community, is to address those 3 things. It's a place we can share and discuss what really matters without the worry of censorship or mistreatment or people, saying the things that people say. It's also, again, a place away from ads, away from distraction, and away from temptation even, because we know that the enemy is busy. And when we are on these social platforms, there is so much that is there to take our attention off of God. Social media is funded by ads and driven by clicks. So when you go looking for a certain thing in there, how often do you find it right away? I often will go into, like, I'm in a scripture writing Bible group, and I'll go in just to see what the assignment, if you want to call it that, is for the day. And as soon as I turn it on, I see the little notification icon, and usually whatever that very first post is something I want to see. And before you know it, I'm reading the post, I'm going through comments, I'm looking at my notifications. And then eventually, if I remember, I might get around to seeing what I came to see. That's the way social media works. That is not healthy, especially when you are trying to search for the truth. So in this group, you will go there and that's all you'll find. You will find exactly what you went for. You won't have to wade through things and try to bounce your eyes off of things you'd rather not put into your eyes. No more. The village won't have any ads, nothing sinful, just like-minded women with like goals. It is a place for women in all stages of their womanhood. It's for teens who are wanting to learn more about their bodies and to get off to the right start in life. It's for women who are wanting to become pregnant, whether they've tried and it hasn't worked out or whether they're just starting. It's for women who are pregnant. It's for women who are in their postpartum years, women who are transitioning into menopause, and women who are in menopause. It's a place for all of us to mentor one another, to help one another, to guide each other along, to learn together. There will be community groups for each of those life phases so that you can discuss topics that might be specific only to that phase. And then there will also be groups for everyone to have conversation together so that the older ones of us can help the younger ones, and so that the younger ones can teach the older ones maybe some things that are going on in the world so we can understand. Again, I'll be offering special offers for the founders of the village, the first women who move in and become residents of the village. You will be honored and you'll be held in a place of esteem as the guiding women who will lead those who come later, because maybe they just haven't quite found me yet, or they're still lost over in the world wide web, right? That's www. They're still caught up in that web. They haven't found their way over here yet. When they get here, they're going to need us all to welcome them in gently to help them along their way. And I want you to be one of those special women. I want you to be one of the founding members. To do that, again, all you'll need to do is just go sign up on the waiting list at https://www.morriswellnessservices.com/village waiting. I know you want to go ahead and move in now. I know you're excited and you want it now, but it's just not quite ready yet. Again, you all know this is my podcast, it's my website, it's all me. I'm not some big production. So with there only being so many hours in the day, it does take some time and it takes some attention. And it's a project that I am building with God's help, but no sponsors or big builders or anything like that. So I'm giving it the time and the love it needs, but it will be ready soon. You won't be alone much longer. So imagine you're walking up to the village and there's a bulletin board up there and you see a sign-up sheet. Go walk up to that sign-up sheet that might happen to be at a website, put your name on it, get signed up, and I'm so excited to see you join us there when the doors open. And if you're at a point where you know your body needs more, you know that you need that one-on-one high-touch support to get that transformation that you've been dying to have. If you know that you need testing, you need personalization, you need someone with you on this journey, one-on-one, that's what my coaching mentorship is for. It's a concierge program, meaning that I build it for you, for what you need. And we work one-on-one in video calls twice a month, getting you to your goals, mapping out where you are, where you want to go, and then getting you there. Verity Village is a beautiful place of community support, and you will have that as part of one-on-one coaching with me. But the coaching mentorship, it is peeling back the layers to find the root cause of your specific situation, your personal world, what's going on in your body, one-on-one with me in a way that is tailored to exactly what you need in light of God's design. So if you're ready for that, if you know you need that in-depth support, head to, again, https://www.morriswellnessservices.com/apply, fill out a quick application, and then you'll pick your time to book your call with me, and you will be taking the first step towards your deep healing. So if that's what you need, if you know you're ready for that, go do that now. While you're there, go ahead and sign up for the waiting list as well. And I'll see you in the next episode. If you were blessed by today's episode, please take a minute to share it with another mama friend you know needs this info, or post a screenshot on your Instagram stories and tag me so I'll know you loved this episode. Then come hop into our Facebook group to find your people and have some like-minded support throughout your week. Also, I'd love it if you'd head to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. You can find links for all of these things in the show notes. I'm so thankful for you, and I look forward to hanging out again with you right here next week.